And so I was no, not interested. And then he got real serious, and he like looked me dead in the eye. And he's like, "I can get you anything." And then his demeanor kind of changed.
Shit. Welcome back to the I Jupiter podcast. I'm your host, Tom Franklin, and today we have on a Mr. Timothy Wayne Williams, an artist amongst many, many things. I found him to be very interesting. I ran across him on Facebook, I believe it was, and I was like, I read his profile, and I was like, I'm going to reach out to this guy. You guys know, anything that interests me, that comes my way, those people are going to be on, and we're going to have hopefully a good discussion. If you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me over my email at the ijupiterpodcast@gmail.com. You can contact me on my Facebook page or my private account under Tom Franklin. You can find me on Instagram. You can also like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as well as follow me over on Rumble. And you can download me from your favorite podcasting software, or what they call that app. It's better said. And you can listen to me. If you want some merch, you can go ahead and click down the bottom. There is a link down below. You get yourself a nice hat, nice T-shirt. You can also get yourself a poster or a coffee mug that you've been dying to get for that loving person in your life. Well, with all that out of the way, please welcome to the Eye of Jupiter podcast, Mr. Timothy Wayne. Oh, let me get it again. Williams. Timothy Wayne Williams. Hi, buddy. Welcome to the show.
Hey Tom. How you doing, man?
Oh, it's just, don't take it personal. It's just like a lot of names, when you
run it by. It's a mouthful. It's a mouthful. I know. It's like my parents named me just the most boring name, Tim Williams. It's just so forgettable. And there's a million Tim Williamses out there.
How many Tom Franklins do you think there are?
Probably less than Tim Williams, believe me. Okay. So so I do the serial killer with the three names, and it's just people remember.
Yeah, it helps. It helps, if you're a basketball player and you have, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or something like that. It's just more. It's not in the least bit like pretentious or anything. It's just sometimes for people to stick in your mind. It's a bit of a marketing ploy, but at the same time, it's not.
Absolutely. Yeah.
At the same time, it's not. So I found you on Facebook. I reached out to you, and you immediately said, "Of course, I can come on." So please, Tim, do me a favor. Tell us a little bit about yourself and promote whatever it is that you like.
Okay. I'm Timothy Wayne Williams. I'm a oil painter, a professional oil painter in Indianapolis, Indiana. Some people know me from my music career, where I was a drummer in a metal band in the early 90s.
Okay, which band?
It was a band called Storybook Romance, and we were more known kind of in the Midwest.
I didn't know those. All right. Okay.
Just thought maybe we were on the verge of doing some big things, but it was a whole nightmare. The band broke up right before we had some really cool stuff going on. Yeah. But I was a musician. I did a little bit of photography. I worked in printing I was the artist I was like a graphic designer and also the production manager of a printing company for 30 plus years. And I really hated that. And so one day my boss came in and just really ticked me off. And I started doing the math in my head. I was all like, I'm selling almost everything I paint. It's like, wonder how many I'd have to paint a week to make about the same, And I did the math, which is crazy because I'm horrible at math. And I
Mm.
realized that actually I probably could be close. And so, yeah, I went into my boss's office and I'm like, I know I've been here 32 years, but I'm leaving. And so
Wow.
that
You're gonna have
felt
to
really
tell me
good.
how you get yourself known. Like I haven't painted for about a year now because of a life change that happened. I don't have room for it, but I will be in the future. I'm actually in an apartment. You might hear a Mexican birthday party today. So I'll tap the
Sweet.
mic and zip me out if possible, but I can't go out there and go, hey guys, don't have fun. Tim's on. So yeah, you're gonna have to tell me, like maybe after the show here, how you go about doing that. That's very interesting because I love painting. I can do. It looks like you're doing. Let's talk about painting for a second because I'm a painter too.
Sure.
It looks like you're doing the alla prima, or otherwise known as the wet on wet. But is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Most about like 99% of the time. Every now and then I'll let something dry a bit before I go over it. But
So,
yeah, no, I've really worked that style. I can. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're really, cranking these paintings out," and it's like I'm not. It's the style I'm doing, and I've really refined that style. I can get to where I want to get quicker. You know what I mean?
oh, yeah, of course. Like I'm still in the process of like because everyone makes fun of you if you're wet on wet. They think you're Bill Alexander, of course, or the incredible Bob Ross who
Bob Ross. Yeah.
popularized the style that was created back during like the Renaissance era. Um, I do that too. I can look at other painters too. There's quite a few that were like Kevin Hill is an incredible painter.
Oh yeah. Amazing.
Amongst others, I can't think of the other guy's name. He's a left-handed guy with a tattoo here. He's pretty cool. Yeah, he's not as refined, but he's a step above me. And I just, don't always clean your brushes. Don't, just clean them off with a paper towel and move into your next session. When you blend, sometimes it helps it out. And I go, oh, things like that always helps the process. But like if you refine it and you get where you are, I'm sure if I were to think, I think the longest piece you would do would be like 2 to 2.5 hours.
Mm. Yeah, mine. I mean, I go like all day.
No,
You
oh,
know.
okay, you go for a long time then.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. I pay. I get up with my wife. Before work, and I'll paint from sometimes 7 o'clock till sometimes 7 at night. Depending on how it's going. It's fun.
Yeah, you have to be inspired somehow. There's something in your mind is what happens with guys is that with time is like there's certain formats that work well. You know what I mean? If you're
Yeah.
doing an ocean scene, half or 1/4, I think, or something like, or a third, no, a
Mhm.
third,
Rule of
either
thirds. Yeah.
a third, yeah, excuse me, or things like that. You have your mountain scenes. You're trying to create depth and go down as you move. Excuse me, as you move forward, you also move down and perspective, which is probably the hardest thing to do for me is perspective. And it just becomes, I'd imagine it just becomes, how long have you been doing it?
I started just playing around with it right after the band broke up in like 95, something like that.
Okay.
And so I've been, experimenting for a long time. I would say now where I got real serious about it was probably 10 years ago, where I was, really realized I wanted this to be my future, in some way.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like I've always been like, when it comes to artistic wise, it's always been the audio medium, whether it be stand up or music or things like that. And this, I was just I got into cannabis, and a friend of mine, I was like 35, and that's the first time I really got into it. And he was like, "Well, yeah, dude, if you're feeling this, then go ahead and watch golf or Bob Ross." And I said, "Okay, I'll watch Bob Ross." And I
Yeah.
just got into it. And then one day I told my wife at the time, I said, "Hey, I'm going to be a painter." And she was like, "Okay." And it just took off from there. So it's something inside of, you to want to create these types of artworks. And I think it's amazing.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. Yeah, Bob Ross did that stuff about 40 minutes from here in Muncie,
No, that's
Indiana.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right, dude. That's
So
so
I get brought up with him a lot too. I'm like, I'd rather you say I'm the Thomas Kincaid, maybe, of the of the paranormal. I'd rather have that. But no, I have nothing against Bob at all. No, I mean,
No.
he inspired a lot of painters. A lot of people think that, I actually did not watch Bob. And I probably should have. I'd probably be a better painter today, but I just never was into it. Or if I did stop and watch him or somebody paint, I'd get so impatient. I'd be like, I want to start painting, and I would just
Yeah.
leave it, leave the show and immediately grab paint. Like, I want to do that, So
Yeah.
that's what I do today.
And there's a lot of
like
things.
if I'm like, if I'm not in the mood to paint, I will find like some painter. It doesn't even have to be someone better than me, just anybody really who's painting, and I'll just watch him for about 10 minutes, and I'm like, all right, that's it. That was the spark. I'm ready to go.
So cool, dude. And another thing really weird about Bob Ross, a lot of people think it's very basic. In a sense, it is. But once you painted, say, for 3 years, go back and watch again. You'll see other things that it's a certain way he's holding things. You know what I mean? Or like, okay, he's mixing that with that, but then he's pushing this here and hitting that bristle a certain way against the palette. And then you're just like, oh, okay, that's going to make me even that much better. So it's simple, but you can always refine. And that's the best part, I think, about painting, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I'm sure he's forgot more about color than I'll ever know.
Yeah. So you said you wanted to promote a coffee book or coffee table book. Is that correct?
Yes. A few years ago, I put out calendars of my work. The Hidden Bigfoot series. It's like this ongoing series that probably has 300 pieces in it by now. I don't know, but so the calendars had decent success. But I realized that after a time, calendars have a shelf life. After a time, nobody wants to buy a calendar anymore, and they're virtually worthless,
Right.
And so I was all like, I want something with a little more staying power. So I decided I would try to do this book. I had this idea for it. And I contacted a friend of mine who was with a publisher, and I hit them with my idea. They really loved it and said, yeah, let's do it. And so within 6 months, we had this book out. So this is what it is.
What's it called?
It's called, it's Bad Glare.
Your Bigfoot Expedition.
Yep, Your Bigfoot Expedition. It's what it's supposed to be is kind of like your personal expedition from your couch. Like you can get in here, and it starts like in spring, and you are searching around spring at different locations for Bigfoot, and you write down how many you see at the bottom here, and it goes through all the seasons, and then it also does have a bit of a narrative that runs through it.
Okay.
It's not really a hardcore story. I didn't really want to do that. I may do that with the next book, but it's just something that ties all the paintings together, and then at the end I show you where they all were.
Oh, that is cool, man.
They're all circled,
I'm serious. That is a cool ass book, dude. I like that one.
Man. I was really proud of the idea, and
a friend had it for me. He goes, "You do all these paintings. Why don't you put Bigfoot in the paintings?" And now I realize that somebody has it. So I have another idea, and it's going to be a little different. So it's not actually in the painting. I'm going to mix kind of the two mediums together. But why did you decide Bigfoot? Is there something about the lore or the mythical creature or the creature itself? Depending on your stay, I believe it's a real thing. So why Bigfoot?
Oh, first I want to say available on Amazon.
Oh, available on Amazon. Pardon. All right, we almost dropped the ball there, dude. We got it.
I know, right? So, I've always been into cryptids and spooky stuff, or mysterious stuff. Always, even when I was a kid. I remember my dad coming and getting me when the show In Search Of. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Great show. And I remember seeing the Patterson Gimlin footage on that, and it blew my mind. My dad came and got me. He's like, you got to see this. And ever since,
that's cool. Your dad's cool, man.
I know, right? Yeah. And ever since then, I've been totally, kind of enamored with the topic. And I was doing regular fine art shows for a long time. Not hardcore. I'd do maybe 5 or 6 a year. I wasn't traveling around that much, but I had modest success. It was okay. And then one day I was painting, this landscape, and I just thought it'd be funny to hide a Bigfoot in the background, that only I knew about. I
Yeah,
didn't.
dude, that's so cool.
I mean, I'm like, it's just this dumb little thing, I just did it for my own amusement. And I didn't tell anybody. There's probably a couple dozen paintings floating around out there that I never told the people that there's a hidden Bigfoot in them. I've had people contact me since then and ask me, "Does my painting have a hidden Bigfoot?" And a couple of them did. But so I noticed I was having a really bad art show one day. Hardly anybody was staying in my booth looking at my art. I was getting really annoyed. So I started just telling people, "Hey, this painting I have right over here has a hidden Bigfoot in it. See if you can see it." And people really thought it was cool. They were really getting into it, and people were, coming in my booth just to see it, and stuff. And so I was like, well, maybe I can expand on this. So when I got home, I looked on Facebook. I was like, I wonder if there's any Bigfoot groups, and there's like a million of them,
Yeah.
easily. So I joined a few of those, and I posted a couple paintings that I did, and I was just like, hey, I just threw this, there's a hidden Bigfoot in this painting. What do you think? And people really dug it. And I got, I maxed out my friends immediately almost.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I had to start, sending people to I have just an artist page, and that you can have unlimited people. So I'm starting to put people over there now. And yeah, it just blew up from there. And I just post in these groups. Not all groups will let you do it,
No,
I
no.
found the ones that are cool,
Yeah, well,
and I ask permission too.
yeah, that's
Uh,
fine. But there's some people sometimes on these groups, they'll just throw up anything. It could be pornographic or whatever. And you're just like, what are you doing, dude? You have to
yes,
strike them off. And yeah, but dude, I mean, it's an open invitation. You can always, if you have a cool painting, just pop it up there. We'll find a Bigfoot. It'll spark some hopefully some business for you. That's really awesome. So, what have you had any experiences with Bigfoot, or when you go on these pages, do you talk to people about it, or you watch podcasts about it?
Oh, yeah. I have not had any experiences with cryptids. I have had lots of weird things happen, but not with Bigfoot.
Okay,
Living in suburban Indianapolis,
okay,
there's not a lot of area around here. Southern Indiana, you might run into something, but it's very, very rare. Um,
yeah, yeah. I've actually had a gentleman on who is in Southern Indiana, and he's found
mhm.
some interesting signs. He does like filming and stuff out there. I just had him on like 2 shows ago, so yeah, it makes sense. But dude, I've heard of people having like there'll be like an acre of woods behind their house and in all fields, and they'll be in there once they see him somewhere else, and they'll like follow him home. So you never know. So these weird experiences, dude. Like, what do you mean?
Well, I had what I think is kind of a demonic encounter, and I've also had what I would consider an angelic encounter. And the demonic one happened when I was in high school. I was in a band in high school, a rock band, and we had saved up a bunch of money, and we had rented out this building to put on like our own big show. And we rented out this PA system and lights and everything. And it's a big, big deal. And but this hall that we were in was kind of just like a pole barn. There was really not much to it. There was like two garage doors, and then there was like an in and out door. That was it. It was kind of like a warehouse maybe, and and it had a stage. So there's nothing to it at all. Well, the night before our show, the band was all setting up, and we were almost done setting up, and we were all gathered by the soundboards, saying goodbye to each other and like, "Hey, I'll talk to you tomorrow." And out of nowhere, we hear this loud, cackling laugh, like someone had heard the funniest thing ever. And we
Whoa.
look up, and sitting on one of our PA speakers was this dude. He looked like Scatman Crothers. Do you know who that is?
No, I don't.
Actor. He was the groundskeeper in The Shining, if you remember him.
The
Black
black
guy.
gentleman. No, that was the cook. The black gentleman was the cook.
No, I think you're right. I think he was the groundskeeper though. I
Okay.
believe. And just kind of a short black guy.
Yeah.
And he was laughing his head off, and we're all looking around like, how long's he been in here? And why is he laughing? And how did he get by us? We had closed garage doors. There was only one way in and out at that point, and he would have had to walk right by us. Well, we're all looking at each other like, what are we going to do about this? And so everyone kind of pushes me forward, like, I've talked to him, find out what he wants, So I go up there, and I'm like, hey, dude, what's going on? What are you doing here? And he's like, hey, I got something for you. You're going to love this. I got something for you. And he reaches behind his back. And I don't know how you could even physically do this. He reaches behind his back and suddenly pulls out a stack of Polaroids that his fingers barely fit around. Okay, literally like this. I don't know how you reach behind your back and somehow grab all those Polaroids. Anyhow, he brought them forward and he was like, I got some for you. You're going to love this. And he starts showing me his Polaroids, and they're super pornographic. Really hardcore stuff. And I'm like, hey, dude, I'm absolutely not interested. I'm like, okay, he's a pimp of some sort, And so I kept saying, no, absolutely not interested in that. And he's like, hey, I can get you anything. So, I'm like, okay, maybe he's dealing drugs too. I didn't know. I had not even, so I was pot. No, not interested. And then he got real serious, and he like looked me dead in the eye. And he's like, I can get you anything. And then his demeanor kind of changed.
Shit.
And he was like, just tell me, what do you need? And I'm creeped out like you would not believe. And one of the guitar players walked up, finally kind of saved me. And of course he's going through the Polaroids, and I'm like, dude, put those down. Like, we need to go. And so, I'm telling him no, and I walk away, and I was, we all go back to the soundboard, which is not even that far away. We're talking 30 feet, 40 feet. And you know how you do the thing where you, like, if you're going to talk about someone and you don't want them to overhear, you kind of look over your shoulder real quick before you sure he's not listening. Well, in the time it took me to walk those so many, feet to the soundboard, huddle, and I look over my shoulder and the guy's gone. And we're all like, where did this dude go? And so we're looking around, like, he didn't walk by us. And we're like, he's got to be hiding behind some of the equipment or something. And so we're like, no, this dude wants to stay in this thing overnight and rip us off or something. And so we're looking everywhere. The guy was not there. There was nothing to this building, and to this day, no idea what that was. He came just, and left without us ever seeing him come in or out. And it just super creepy. And to this day, I can't explain it.
What made you think it was a demonic situation?
Just
because of the offer, or?
Yeah, I really do. Some people's like, that was your crossroads moment,
That's exactly what I thought.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, which is not too crazy, because out of all the band members, I think I was the poorest and hungriest at that time. And I wanted to become like famous in the worst way. I wanted to become a very successful musician. And I don't know, some people are like, that's why he talked to you,
Right.
So I don't know.
And he looked like a regular person. Like, was there anything off about him?
Other than he was short and just kind of a skinny, wiry, just little black guy.
Yeah.
It's really strange, you know.
You hear things like this, you know, where there's some type of entity, whatever that is. You know, I'm not a religious person, but I am a man of God. You know, and there's people who are, you know, devoutly Christian, and they're like, you know, they believe that even aliens are demonic, you know.
Right.
But there's times where people get offered things like that, especially in the music industry. And I'm not saying that any particular artist, but there are artists who most likely did get that offer. That is
Oh
that
yeah,
is
I
spooky,
believe
dude.
that. I do believe that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, to contrast that, I have what I almost think is an angelic encounter. This is a weird one because it involves a toilet, and I've told this on podcasts before, and people are always, you know, they're like, a toilet, what, you know? But when we first started our family, the kids were real young, and I think my wife was not working at the time, and we were really hurting for money, and our toilet broke, and we had to get a new one. And I was like, we don't need a plumber, and we can't afford a plumber. I'll just do it. I'll figure it out. How hard could it be, you know?
Right.
So I take the toilet off, and I start trying to put this new one on, and it's not going on right. It's just, it was so maddening. And the family, after, I mean, this went on for a few days, and the family's getting very tired of going in a bucket and very, you know,
Right.
mad at me. And I felt terrible, and I felt like I really let the family down. You know, I was
Yes.
like, I thought this would be real easy, you know, and you know, my father-in-law, who could have probably done it easy, he wasn't in town. They live in West Virginia too, and so I even had one of my best friends just out of the blue happen to stop by, and his dad used to own a plumbing company, and he knew quite a bit about plumbing. And I was like, oh, thank God you're here. Let me show you what the situation is. And he looked at it and was baffled. He was like, I've changed tons of toilets. And he was like, I don't know why this is not going on. And so I started going to hardware stores and just going in their plumbing department, like, you know, is anyone here, you know, a plumbing expert who could help me? And I talked to 2 or 3 plumbing experts in the hardware stores that are around me, and they were absolutely no help at all. And I was getting so frustrated, and I was just really demoralized. I just was like, man, I'm really letting the family down. And it's like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. And I decided, well, I'm going to go to one last hardware store, you know, and see what their plumbing experts will say. And so I was before I even found the plumbing expert. I was walking around the aisles, just looking to see if I saw anything, you know, that might, you know, that might work for, you know, to solve my problem. Maybe something would jump out at me. And I'm just standing there, just really irritated. And there's this guy about 10, 15 feet away, just out of the blue, just goes, hey, what are you working on? And I was like in no mood to talk, you know.
Right.
And I looked over the guy. The guy looked younger than me, maybe a little homeless, maybe not little mental diminished, you know,
Mentally
something there
diminished.
wasn't quite right.
Okay.
And he also seemed like one of those people who just wanted to talk, you know, like lonely people. And
Right.
normally I'm all over that, and I'm a pretty friendly guy that way, you know. But not that day. I was just absolutely not in the mood to deal with this. I had too much going on. And he kept pestering me like, well, what are you working on? What are you doing? And I'm like, I just got this stupid plumbing issue. And he's like, well, tell me about it. And I'm like, he's not going to be able to help.
Okay.
But after he pestered me for a while, I was like, all right. So I told him, I was like, see this thing, and it's not fitting there. It seems like there's this gap.
Oh, the
And
wax seal? Problem with the wax
yeah,
seal?
yeah,
Yeah.
there was a problem with that seal. And he walks just a few feet away and grabs this thing off the shelf that I had never noticed and hands it to me and tells me exactly how to put it in. And it was this thing I didn't even know they made that was like an extension that helped
Okay.
this fit together. I don't know why no one thought of this, but this guy. And he handed it to me, told me exactly how to put it in detail, and walked away. And as I'm looking at it, going, oh my God, this will work, my wife walks up and she's like, who is that? And I'm like, this guy just gave me the part and told me exactly how to put it in. And she said, did you thank him? And I'm like, I think I did, but I'll go check. I'll make sure I thank him again. So I mean, I had just seen him walk into the next aisle. So I kind of walk real fast over there, and I put my head around and he's not there. And I'm looking all over and the guy was nowhere to be found. Now, I mean, it was a big hardware store. I'm not going to say I looked everywhere, but I mean, I looked pretty hard for this guy and he should have been right around that area. And he had just disappeared. And, I thought, well, maybe I'll run into him, when I check out or something. And no, he was nowhere around. And I went home, put that in just like he said. It was perfect, and it worked great. So,
And there was anything particular about the gentleman that made you feel like it was some type of are you trying to suggest is some type of this is a muddied word, but some type of divine intervention or something of that
yeah,
nature?
I mean, in a way, I know it. People are like, oh, God wouldn't do that with a toilet. But I'm like, you don't understand how worked up I was and how stressed. And it's the way the guy just would not let it go. He just
Uh-huh.
kept asking me, what is the problem? What is the problem? And, I mean, who does
Right.
that? You know,
Yeah.
and and like I said, the guy was younger than me. He didn't, I was pretty young at the time too. And I was like, there's no way this kid's going to know anything. And
Was his voice like a calming effect, or like it just seemed like sometimes if you're in a situation, because I sound just like you, honestly, the way you're talking about things not fitting together and then walking around the different aisles in the hardware aisle, wherever I am
right.
to try to go, well, if I put like this, maybe I can get a tube thing, whatever it may
Yeah.
be that you're trying to figure out. I know that feeling, but I'm just trying to maybe make it so a little bit more understanding for the people listening. Like, was there something commanding about his voice, or was it just seemed so out of place?
It just was so out of place. Like I said, he just seemed like one of those guys who just wanted to talk, just I thought he would get off on some weird topic, and I'd be stuck there, small talking. But he
Yeah.
went straight to it. He was like, what is the problem? Exactly, what is the problem? Tell me what you're working on. And he would not let it go.
Did he
And
introduce himself at all or anything like that?
no, no, never. He never even said like,
Hi.
I have plumbing experience or anything like that. He just was like, just tell me what's going on. And
That is weird.
yeah,
That is weird. Because I've had help before. I've been here in Mexico, and then like I'm putting some PVC pipe together. Oh, you want the compression type? You don't want this kind, and you need to make sure to take this glue and not that glue. And it was just some random guy who spoke English, and he's a maintenance dude, and who works around in a city. And then I seen him once again after that, and he's, oh, if you want your screws, they're here. And if you need someone to make you a piece, it's over there. So, there's sometimes friendly people like that, but it was more of a natural thing where I was just like looking and staring, and he's just like, is there anything I can help you with? Because he's seen that, I'm here in the Yucatan, so I look, I stick out. I'm 6'3" to people who are like 5'5",
yeah,
and so he was just very friendly. But if the dude just kind of like comes out of nowhere and he's just like, hey, what's your problem?
yeah,
That I can understand that being off-putting. But
yeah.
in the end, it
It
worked
was,
out.
yeah, I know. It to this day, I'm still kind of baffled by that one. I mean, when my wife walked up, I mean, I was still out of the corner of my eye. I saw him, and walking away. And
Right.
my wife's like, who was that? And, did you thank him? And I'm like, I think I did, and ran to find him, and he should have been just in that next aisle.
Okay. So a bit of a personal question, I guess I would ask would be about what you think. Okay, you have yet to see a cryptid. Either of I haven't seen a cryptid. No, I have myself have not seen a cryptid. But being on all these podcast pages and maybe listening to a few every once in a while because of your general interest, what do you feel about Bigfoot? What do you feel about the whole thing? I guess you would say.
Yeah, yeah. I do tons of events and stuff, and I have people coming up telling me their stories a lot. And I've talked to some fairly famous people about this too. Who've admitted to me that they absolutely do not believe. Some people you've seen on TV who are just like, I don't believe. I'm just kind of pretending
Really?
I do. Yeah, and
Okay. Wow.
I could tell you some names.
That's we won't do that now.
Yeah, no, I can't. No, I won't do that. I won't do that now. But sometime off
Sure.
off the podcast, I might tell you. But anyway, I've heard a ton of stuff, and I absolutely believe it exists. Um, I I'm leaning towards the camp of that it's maybe dimensional or at least has some special uh, properties we don't know. Like, what if there was something that was like had the abilities of like a chameleon who could like somehow disguise itself in the forest, and it's just something we never knew a primate could have, and maybe it has. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
You know,
I've never heard the chameleon idea before. That would make a lot of sense, but like people always seem to be either this or that, and
right,
I'm
right,
somewhere in the middle. I mean, this you can see they're leaving footprints, and chickens are being taken out, and then there's things where people go, no, dude, I've seen this thing, and then it just disappeared in front of my eyes,
right,
or I looked there and then I looked back and now it's there, or leaning out from behind a tree or whatever it's doing. And you're just like, okay. And then the infrasound thing, there's a lot of that or whatever that is that being
right,
zapped. And it's just like, well, what are these things? Because even like, crocodiles or even like tigers or bears even will have a low guttural sound of like, get away. You know what I mean? So
right.
that kind of makes sense. But then the being sick really doesn't. It is quite the mystery, dude.
Yeah, I don't really fall in either camp.
Neither do I.
I like I said, I lean towards that. There's something paranormal about it, but I can't, put my finger on it. But
So when you're painting the Bigfoot, do you? I'm sure. I'm not quite sure how you're doing it. Maybe a silhouette type situation, maybe a slight variation in a color behind some type of. You say, okay, I'm going to put it in on this layer, and then I'm going to push my way out. But it's still very visible, I'd imagine, if you know where it is. But I'm sure it's also not like how long you've been working on that particular part of the technique.
about probably going on 4 years now, 3, 4 years, probably four. Um, the thing I do is I start out. I just want to make a nice painting first, and sometimes I'll do a painting and I'll just be all like, I don't want a Bigfoot in this. Doesn't
Right.
mean, you know, I just don't want to do it. And so people think that's all I do, and it's not. No, I do all kinds of other stuff. I paint lots of castles and kind of fantasy stuff every now and
Yeah, a
then.
lot of cool, like a lot. There's one particular painting that I've seen, and I'm sure you might know what it is. It's a recent one, I think. Like it's wooded, and you have a very bright glow of sun through the
Yeah,
trees,
that one's
and it was such a cool. Yeah, well, you can grab it, sure. It was just such a cool, like an idea that I would have never wouldn't have dawned on me to make it like. Of course, I want to picture frame some of the things, but to give that depth by using the branches in the forest, that was just, I looked at it and said, damn, dude, you are a good painter. It's just, yeah,
appreciate
dude,
it.
it's awesome.
Means a
It's
lot.
awesome.
It means a lot.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, let
It's
me find that one and
a lot
see
of,
if
yeah,
it's
please.
the one I'm thinking of.
Oh, he's a Rammstein fan. Rammstein. That's cool. I
Yeah.
should put on my Rammstein for shirt. Yeah, that's it right there. That's exactly what I'm talking about, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a fun one. It Yeah, it's supposed to look like you're kind of just coming up above this rise, and you see the setting sun, and it's supposed to be dusk, and it's supposed to just really be right under the trees there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, I have such a hard time. For me, I'm very good on the first. I can make, whatever. I would say the first five, well, maybe depending on, if you count clouds in the sky, the first five layers. But once I get towards the foreground, I know I need more detail and I need more red or brighter colors to kind of make it. I have the hardest time with that. So that's where I am at the moment. And it's just, could you explain, like for a person who doesn't paint, what is so awesome about it?
Oh, what's awesome about oil
Yeah.
painting? Oh,
Yeah, dude.
it's easy for me. It's creating worlds.
Yeah.
I love creating just cool scenes that I want to be there and see. Those are always the paintings, like in museums that I saw. I like the detail that you want to stop and you really want to look around that painting and see what you see. Um, I want you to kind of create the scenario in your mind. What's going on in the painting? That's why I don't put a lot of people in my paintings. I kind of want you to put yourself in the painting. So
It's hard to paint too.
I don't
It's
put
hard to paint
animals.
too. Painting animals are difficult, dude. I haven't even started on that. I can make like a little bird fly, a little fly, but that's about it, dude. I've done a castle a time or two, but I'm not very good at those. Yeah, you want people, and it's also cool when you're doing like in a perspective, like if you're doing a path where it like goes to a point, but you have to. The thing that's really weird about that too, you have to make it. Well, depending if you have a little hill or whatever it is, but it happens a lot faster than you think if you're starting out. Like to make that horizon point, once you know where it is, because sometimes it moves as you're painting too. So. So you get to create worlds. That's fair. It's good enough for me because that's the same way I feel.
Yeah. And when I put the Bigfoot in, it's like, after I've made the painting, then I look for shadows in areas that already maybe kind of look like something could be there. Not all the time, but a lot of times I'll just look for a shadow that looks like Bigfoot and I'll just finish it out. And so I do, ones that are real easy to find because I have a whole bunch of people who complain if they're too hard, and I have a whole bunch of people complain if they're too easy.
They're too easy.
So, yeah. So I do an array. Some are going to be real hard and some are going to be real easy or in between. So it seems to make everybody happy, but I still get now and then I get some person irritated with me.
Yeah, but you're never gonna, dude. When it comes to any kind of art, whatever it is you're doing, like I'm doing this podcast. To me, it's art. It's an art form, or stand up. I do stand up comedy too. For me, it's even more difficult than painting. It's very difficult.
I imagine
it's in the moment. You can't just like go in a back room somewhere and just plug away. It's very difficult. But you can't. The point I'm trying to get to is that you can't make everyone happy with what you do. You just kind of do what you want, and if you dig it, you know what I mean? Because you just can't. It's impossible.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the only person who's going to be unhappy is you at the end. So might as well just be you happy.
I do struggle sometimes. I need to do. Sometimes my stuff just gets too dark. I like moody, dark stuff.
Yes.
But I've had people say, I don't have great light in this room and I bought that painting and I really, I wish it was a little brighter. So that just happened recently. And it was a campfire painting when I'm like, well, it's kind of supposed to be night. But yeah, I am trying to do stuff a little brighter, just so I don't have that problem happen again.
Because you're wearing a Rammstein shirt, that means you're a metalhead like me, and they are very big metalhead, big time. But the painting that you do would probably be like a T-shirt for Black Dahlia Murder or something. They have these great T-shirts. Whatever, just always like a castle or a fucking werewolf or something.
Yeah,
shit, man. But you're not going to make everyone happy. And I understand that. You like, what people don't get is like there's a part of you in that painting. Like after COVID happened, I painted like this really dark winter scene, and like it was the first one after I went down for me. It knocked me out 4 to 5 weeks, and so the first thing I did is paint to get that feeling out. You know what I mean? It was very dark, but you know what I mean. So if you want to. And there's days where I love doing like, the sunrise with, with the yellow, and then you go out, work your way out, and then put white in the middle, and then make a little circle, and then you make sure you shine everything out. Yeah, there's days like that too. So if you're a buyer of such said art, just pick the one you like. It's
right.
It's hard.
Right.
Yeah. I guess ain't much of a question, more than a statement, I suppose.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Tim,
I love doing an array of stuff too, because like I said, people think all I do is the Bigfoot stuff. So I like mixing it up. Sometimes I'll do a floral arrangement,
Yeah, that's another ball of wax I haven't gotten to yet. I'm still trying to get the oceans. I have a hard time with those.
They can get muddy quick.
Yeah, I'm much more of a fan of the landscape. It seems to come a little more easier to me. But the ocean, you have to be a little more precise. And not. It's kind of both.
Yeah, it's weird with oceanscapes. It's like the further it gets away from you, I mean, as it's going to the vanishing point, it's kind of just haphazard. It's really kind of smeary in a way.
Yes.
As you get closer and closer to you, those waves and those shadows in the waves are sharper. And I struggle with that sometimes. I kind of want to do it all kind of smeary, and it's like, no, I got to remember it's getting closer to me. I got to sharpen that up.
Yeah, it's so many things involved in it. I'm so glad just to be talking to another oil painter who does the same style that I do. And people here going, yeah, Tom, you normally do this and that and the other. But I'm like, dude, this guy is, he's kind of like me with the gray beard. We got Rammstein shirts on. This is just me in Indiana, and I'm him in Mexico.
That's right.
So, dude, let's do an open. Anything else you want to talk about, dude? Let's go ahead and, is anything you want to discuss or anything you'd like to ask me? Or I know it's putting you on the spot, but.
Yeah, well, I will say you need to send me some of your art. You need to send me some pics.
I will. I have them saved up on some cloud somewhere, but yeah, I'll send you some of what I consider to be better ones. But yeah, I'll do that for sure. And we'll go ahead and we can just end the podcast here if you like, dude. This is fantastic. I mean, I've had a great time.
Oh, I did too. It was great, fantastic, man.
Do me a favor, please direct the people to where they can go and buy. I'm sure you make prints as well. Do you ever do you sell the original as well?
You know what? I don't do a lot of prints.
Okay.
It's a stupid reason why I don't do them. It's just me being stubborn. But I've seen some people when I was doing fine art shows fake them, where they'll fake an original. They'll take a print, a giclée, and they'll just put a little bit of paint on it somewhere. And then I've seen them at auctions as originals. And that just really annoys me. So I do have some stuff on Fine Art America, but it's not something that I promote that much,
Okay.
Fine Art America is this company that it's kind of like a print on demand thing. You can say, hey, I like this image here. And I mean, you could get it on a damn shower curtain if you want,
Okay.
It's crazy.
Do that.
You get it on a bazillion different things.
I'm going to go ahead and do that.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
I got some beach towels I did of sharks that I'm real proud of.
Okay, then go ahead. Let's go ahead and promote that book again, my friend.
So the book is Your Bigfoot Expedition. You can get it on Amazon. Actually, you can get signed copies through me. Just contact me through Messenger, and I can get you a signed copy too, if anyone's interested in that. And it does. Oh, I should say it has a foreword by Daniel Lee Barnett, who is.
Dude, are you kidding me?
No.
Well, I know, dude. I've known Daniel for over a year now when he first started his podcast and everything. Great guy. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he is a good kid.
Yeah,
He
he's
really
awesome.
is. He's going places, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really. No, he was kind enough to write the foreword for the book, and he's blowing out.
Yeah, yeah. If you're going to find some, eDNA over in England, then and it's been scientifically tested in the labs in Switzerland. People are going to start noticing, like, okay, where's this at, and what are you doing? But he's like in a Bigfoot field, I guess you would say, in this area
Yeah,
where we're just trying to figure out what this phenomenon is. There's a lot of crabs in the bucket still. And he run across the same problem that you do, as I do, as everyone else does when you're trying to be authentic. And that's so cool that he wrote that forward, dude.
yeah. I've sent him paintings and books to sell at shows and stuff, and so I always tell him, well, if they don't sell at shows, take them around to people who are into the topic. And he's like, you don't understand. There's very few people in the UK who, don't think I'm crazy, and he's like, it's actually hard to do that. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's promote it in America and Canada. And, we got this,
right. Yeah, you can get it.
Yeah. Go ahead, buddy.
Amazon UK, and I think there's an Amazon Australia, maybe. You can get them through there too.
So go down to the link, guys. Click on that if you're interested in his book. And like you said, if you write him over on Messenger at Timothy Wayne Williams, he'll sign that for you and send it out to you, man. Thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate it.
It was great, man.
A lot of fun. Of fun.
Absolutely. It was great.
All right, buddy. Stick around. I want to talk to you a little bit, just a split second.
Cool.
So there you go, guys. A painter who puts not only, but he also puts big feet. I guess that would be the plural of that, in some paintings. And look him up, man. That's really cool, really interesting. He reminds me a lot of myself. I was a guitar singer in a metal band for many years, So he's a drummer. He's maybe 10 years older than me, I'd imagine, something in that neighborhood. And you just never know what you're going to get on this channel. And that was a really cool, fun, interesting discussion. And like always, remember, like, subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and check out all the things you can get. I got some merch in the bottom there. And go ahead and click on Tim's book there and get yourself one. Have yourself, at least for like Bigfoot conferences, just take it with you. Hey, check out this cool guy. That would be a lot of fun, And I just think it's awesome. So remember, dude, we are the eye. We are aware. Love you all.